Welcome to Bible study number 60. Today we're going to talk about Job chapter 30. So let's go ahead and pray and then we will get started. God, I just thank you for allowing us to get to Bible study 60, Lord. I thank you for just your goodness, your kindness, Lord. I thank you for the grace that you give us every single day, Lord. I pray that you just search into each and every one of our hearts, Lord. Change us, Lord. Remove any impurities, Lord. Remove any sin, Lord. Remove any greed, Lord. Remove any deceit, Lord. Remove anything in us that is not of you, Lord. Help us to be loving and to be kind, Lord. Help us to be obedient to whatever our calling is, Lord. Help us to not live in fear, Lord. Help us to be consistent in our discipleship journey, Lord. Help us to not be afraid of whatever you call us to do, Lord. Help us to leave everything out on the table, Lord. Help us when you see us to say, well done, my good and faithful servant, Lord. Help us when we see you for you to say to us, you did everything that you could to save as many people as you could, Lord. I pray that you just empower us as your disciples to understand what life is truly about, Lord. And it's truly about just spreading your gospel, spreading your word, Lord. Nothing is about us. Everything is about you, Lord. Help us to live that out every single day, Lord. Help us to die to idols, Lord. Help us to die to any selfishness, Lord. Help us to die to any greed, Lord. Help us to die to anything that you identify as sin, Lord. Help us to die to our flesh every single day, Lord. Help us to do things in your power and not our own, Lord, in your strength and not our own, Lord. I just pray that you continue to guide us, Lord. Continue to strengthen us, Lord. Continue to give us wisdom, Lord. Continue to give us knowledge, Lord. I pray, Holy Spirit, that you use me in this Bible study to spread your gospel, to spread your word, Lord. And I just pray that everybody has a great week, Lord. I pray for each and every person that's listening, Lord. Whatever they're going through, I pray for them to understand that you are always with them, Lord. You will never leave us. You will never forsake us, Lord. I pray that you just help us to seek you, Lord, to not lean on drugs, not lean on alcohol, not lean on food, not lean on anything that's toxic. For us to just lean on you for understanding, Lord. Lean on you for just assistance to get through everything, Lord. Help us to understand you created us, Lord. You have all the answers, Lord. And I just thank you. I just honor you. I praise you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So in Job 29, Job is talking about he's in his final speech and he pretty much broke down like how life used to be. He talks about like how he remembers when God had his hand on him. He remembered God being a light, walking him through darkness. He remembered his like when his children were alive, and he just reflected on so many great things, how he helped the poor, how he helped the widows. I mean, he talked about all these great things that he did in the past. So now we're on Job 30, and it kind of talks about like how the tables have turned. So let's get into it. So I'm going to read 1 through probably 5. Let's read 1 through 5. All right. So, but now they mock me. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm in NLT. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained, to put with my sheepdogs. Of what use was the strength of their hands to me, since their vigor had gone from them? Haggard from want and hunger, they roamed the parched land in desolate wastelands at night. In the brush, Lord, they gathered salt herbs, and their food was the root of the broom bush. They were banished from human society, shouted at as if they were thieves. So basically Job is talking about how like the tables have turned, how things are totally different, and how the respect that he had in the past from other people he doesn't have. So now they're mocking him. Now they just don't talk about him. They don't treat him with the same respect, because remember in the last chapter he talked about how People were quiet when he was speaking, and people were just shocked when he spoke, and they were filled with so much wisdom. They were filled with so much knowledge, and now they like have no respect for him. Now they're mocking him. Now they're just like, who is this Job guy? Like, you know, and like I talked about in the last video, how he pretty much was canceled, and how it's like, you know, we don't care about Job anymore. Let's just move on. And so, yeah, Job pretty much is feeling like he has no respect from anybody. And that's pretty much what this chapter goes on to talk about. I wanted to go to verses 24 through 31. So it says, surely no one lays a hand on a broken man when he cries for help in his distress. Have I not wept for those in trouble? Has not a soul grieved for the poor? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? Yet when I hoped for good, evil came. When I looked for light, then came darkness. So he's pretty much talking about how in his past he did a lot, and he talked about that in the last chapter, how he did a lot for the poor, how he did a lot for the widows, how he did a lot for people who are in need. And he's like, okay, have I not really wept? Have I not cried for those people? And when I'm reaching out, when I'm crying out, it's like I'm getting nothing back but evil things happening. So I'm like, I kind of felt that, because it's like, according to what he talked about in Job 29, it's like he did do a lot. And so now it's like he pretty much is feeling abandoned. He pretty much feels like he's just left hanging. And so, all right, the churning inside, I'm on 27. The churning inside of me never stops. Days of sufferings confront me. I go about blackened, but not by sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry for help. I have become a brother of jackals, a companion of owls. My skin grows black and peels. My body burns with fever. My lyre is tuned to mourning, and my pipe to the sound of wailing. I think that's lyre, but whatever. All right, so he's pretty much talking about the condition of how he's feeling. And yeah, he's pretty much talking about how he felt like he was kind, he felt like he was loving, he felt like he was living a righteous life, but he's just not feeling those things. He's feeling evil things. He's feeling like God abandoned him. He feels like he has been completely deserted. And so he's still kind of questioning, like, why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? You know, and we already know about this because we've kind of spoken about this, but he's pretty much just like, what is going on? So that's really all I have to say about this chapter. It was just interesting to me how the tables have turned, how previously everything was going so well. He was talking about how his life was just pretty much, I don't want to say perfect, but it was going very well, and he gave back a lot, and he spent a lot of time with people, and he helped a lot of people. And then just how those same people don't respect him anymore is really sad to hear about, because it's like when he needs people the most, people are nowhere to be found. But when they needed him, then, you know, they wanted to soak up everything that he was giving them, but they're not reciprocating that. And I feel like that's a lot like how the world works today. All right, so let's talk about the discussion question. So I pretty much already answered the first discussion question, which is, what is the difference between chapter 29 and chapter 30? And that is that 29, he talked about like how righteous he was and all these things that he did. And 30, everybody's turned on him. They've forgotten about him. They don't care about him. So yeah, I feel like I've covered that. The next one, why has Job hurt people? Why was Job hurt that people mocked him? I think that he pretty much felt like, he just gave so much to those people. Like, I feel like he spent a lot of time. If he's speaking to all the widows and trying to make them laugh. He's helping the poor. He's giving people words of encouragement. I mean, all that stuff takes time. So I think anybody in their right mind who has done so much and put themselves out there and was really like, you know, on cloud nine. And I think of Job almost like a celebrity in his town. And it just seems like he's not, he just went from like cloud 9 to rock bottom and nobody seems to care. And so I think that that's the challenging part for him, is that he's kind of like, okay, I was that guy, now I'm like a nobody. And I think that he just kind of feels like when he needed people, they're nowhere to be found. But when they needed him, he was there. And I think that that pretty much sums it up. Yeah. And then Job feels like God is distant. Do you ever feel like this? I think that we kind of spoke about this in a previous Bible study that I went over. But yeah, I feel like sometimes I feel like God is distant. I felt like God was distant a lot of times when I was out there living my best life. But I think that now, I think that it's interesting. I went to this conference and I heard this lady talk about, I can't remember the lady's name. I think her name was Mara. And she talked about, I might have butchered her name because y'all know I be butchering stuff, like people's names and words and stuff. But anyway, she talked about like hearing God's voice and how a lot of people struggle hearing God's voice. And she talks about how like she tells her children to sit there for like 30 seconds and just listen for God's voice, and then gradually increase the time, because when you're trying to listen for God's voice, you've got to like not think about anything, and you've got to just focus on listening to him. And I thought that that was so good, because I think that sometimes we're just so busy, like, or we're so consumed with like what we're going through that we're not really listening to God's voice. So I'm wondering, I say all that to say, I'm wondering if, well, I guess God did kind of step back, because he did, you know, this was a whole setup that was orchestrated from the beginning. But I think that applying this in real life, I think that sometimes we can't hear God because I think we're just so consumed with our thoughts, and we've got to kind of turn that off in order to hear him properly. But that's just my thoughts. And so after hearing the lady Mara, I believe, after I hear her speak about that, I've been trying to take a little bit of time, and like, even if I put on a timer for like a minute or 2 or 3, and just sit there and try to get my mind to not think about anything else besides like what God is trying to talk to me about. And I find that it's been helpful. So, and then the goal is to gradually increase the amount of time that I listen to God's voice, you know. And obviously my goal is to have him speak to me longer and longer, for longer and longer durations. But yeah, I think that sometimes God is distant because he wants to, we're in the middle of a test and he wants to see, do we know the answers? Are we going to perform? Like, do you study for this test? Are you going to perform when the test's in front of you? But I think sometimes he's distant, or we feel like he's distant, because we're not taking the time to spend time with him. We're not praying to him. We're not reading our Bible. We're not seeking him like we should. And we want God to magically appear. And he's probably like, well, why do I appear when you need me? But where are you when you don't need me as much, you know? And in all actuality, we always need God. Whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, we need him for everything. I am so needy at this point. I know he's like sick of me, like, girl. And I know he's not actually sick of me, but that's just my, you know, my thing. Like, I feel like I went from like being prideful and like, yeah, I'll pray to God when I need him. I mean, I don't really need him like that. But now I'm realizing like I need God every single day, whether something's going wrong, whether it's not going wrong. I still need God's opinion. I need to hear his thoughts. I need to hear instructions. I need to hear something. I am so dependent on him at this point, because I feel like that's how we should be. That's how he wants us to be. He wants to know us by name. He wants to know our hearts. He wants us to bring our problems to him. And a lot of times we try to solve it ourselves, which leads to all these toxic traits and toxic qualities. But if we were to really focus on, you know, getting to know him, spending time with him, he will provide that comfort that we're missing and that we really need. So I know I went on a rant for that one, but that's just my thoughts. Do you feel like you can be honest with God like Job has been honest with God? I feel like we've kind of talked about this a little bit too, but I feel like as I increase my relationship with God, as I spend more time with God, I feel like I can be honest with Him. And I feel like one thing about God I try to be is always respectful. But I feel like you can still be respectful and tell God, like, hey, I don't understand. Hey, I don't get why I'm going through this. Hey, God, what's going on? You know, like, I feel like you can still do that. And that's what I'm learning to do. Before, it was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm uncomfortable. I'm annoyed, but I'm going to talk to him about something else. And it's like, but he knows that you're feeling all these things. So I'm realizing that when I come to him, I can talk to him about what's bothering me because that's what he wants. And then he may or may not provide me an answer. He may or may not tell me what his thoughts are, why I'm going through certain things. But at the end of the day, at least I got some comfort and some peace in sharing with him how I feel. But the truth of the matter is, he already knows how you feel. So you might as well just tell him, like, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm mad, I'm frustrated, whatever that emotion is, I'm happy, I'm sad, whatever. He wants us to come to him with that. So, yeah. And that is all I have for y'all today, y'all. So I hope that everybody's having a great week. I will see you guys next week so we can continue our journey with Job. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.